What is up, everybody? We are back with the most prestigious night in all of Twitch and sports entertainment. We, of course, talking the second annual Too Sweetie Awards, as we honor everything sweet here in Too Sweet Wrestling. Our host for this evening, JG603. What is up, everybody? Owner and operator of TSW Wrestling. And of course, remember, the first inductee into the TSW Hall of Fame, of course, in the contributor category. Of course, it's my show. I should be in there. And maybe, just maybe, we talk additions to this hall later on in this video. But first and foremost, welcome in. Appreciate you guys for coming through and not only supporting TSW but voting for this thing, of course, as tends to be the case. You know, we are here to vote for the year in TSW, but sometimes popularity does play a factor, as it often does in life. So excited to see how things shake out. Maybe some upsets, some shockers here this evening, but I cannot wait to dive into this. Of course, we're talking everything from Rookie of the Year to Wrestler of the Year, and we talk Rookie of the Year. It has been a big year in TSW. Of course, the first year this category will be handed out, so to speak. Of course, a year when everyone was a rookie, and we will kind of go through the pie chart, so to speak. Of course, the top percentage will mention how close it is if it is a tight race. And big shout out to Dargon for the graphics. Made them out like 6 in the morning. Absolutely appreciate you, sir. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I do bring to you our first category. And as mentioned moments ago, Rookie of the Year. First of a number of new categories here today, but it's a big category. Winner, 33 1/3, a third of the field of the vote, beating out by 11%. Second place, and we're looking at the one, the only, the monster in the bank. There's a briefcase here. Of course, we are talking the one and only Meckle Monster. Yes, indeed, second place would be Nuggy. Third would be LeBrun, for those wondering. Congratulations to one Meckle Monster. Of course, certainly a big year awaits him. Spent some time as a tag champion. Of course, part of the Dog Pound faction of the year will come later today. And again, we'll do our best to try to time these up as we go, build up to the next one. And of course, when we talk rookies, we talk about debuts here in TSW, and this is an interesting category, whether it be a debut moment, maybe a smaller impact, or the impact of the moment itself. Will the Rookie of the Year match up with the Debut of the Year? We're about to find out, ladies and gentlemen. Drum roll, please. Metaphorical, not physical. I didn't add sound effects. I probably could. I could use a round of applause. And indeed, it's going to be Roy Bacon making bacon. Didn't said any appreciate you, sir. Of course, don't have the picture for Roy Bacon on here, but I tell you what, he is a beautiful, handsome son of a bun. We're looking at 48.1%. Nearly half the field picked this man. Of course, electrifying debut at 603 Mania would defeat Roy Bacon. Roldy night 1 for the Hardcore Championship. Of course, night 2 not quite as kind, but he will be kicking off the first episode of TSW against LPC. Hardcore rules will apply, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, second place would be Meckle Monster with 25%. So nearly out of Rookie and Debut of the Year. When we talk about big moments, big debuts, you need a good entrance, and we're talking Johnny Clap Daddy, but not that clap. We're talking descending from the heavens, of course, when he debuted as the Messiah. But you know what? I'll give a little bit of credit as well when we're talking about Clap, because I tell you what, this new entrance is incredible, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Real quick, first place, 44.4%, as you can see, 29% for Landmark and the Car at Mania. But here we go, original song of the year, and we have our first tie of the evening, as we have a 33 1/3 for both LBJ and the debut song of TSW. Of course, Brotherhood, by the way, would get third with 18% there, and we got a tie. Don't hate that at all. Of course, both incredible songs. Big shout out to Boxy this award's for you, sir. And we talk about awards that are just prepped and primed for Boxy. It's promo of the year as well. Boxy going back to back. That one really just his category. This one, of course, everybody up for grabs here. Boxy, a landslide, 77.8% of the votes. Clap would take second there. Raw in third. Congratulations, Boxy. And I tell you what, these might just be the Boxy Awards here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. As he's got song, he's got promo, drum roll, he's got match of the year as well. And once again, LBJ sees himself in the spotlight. We're talking that big ambulance match, truly an all-time classic between the two. 40.7% of the votes. Yunk versus Finn. End of the streak would be 29.6%. A little bit back there, but what a match, what a moment. And I tell you what, LBJ and Boxy, great run this year, great run in these awards. And it just keeps going as we have feud of the year. I'm sorry to be blocking Boxy's beautiful face here. It's the way it has to be, but you know, you're gonna be the match of the year. You had the promo of the year. Chances are that's all wrapped up in feud of the year. And yes, indeedy, the hits keep coming. And now, ladies and gentlemen, a heavyweight feud between two cruiserweights. It's time for the first weight division winner. As we are looking at cruiserweight of the year, neither of these men had a big spot in the cruiserweight division, but this man was the cruiserweight division. And I tell you what, I can't disagree with this assessment. 51.9% of votes. JG and LeBron tied second place with 22.2%. How about that? But of course, Clap, longest reign in history, longest single reign, longest combined reign, most reigns with the championship, currently your cruiserweight champion, and will be defending against Boxy on the first night of TSW. Tables, ladders, chairs, ladies and gentlemen, string that strap up high above the ring. But ladies and gentlemen, the big daddios are on their way. Who will be BMI of the year? A tough fought category. Controversy might be on its way as we have a tie. Yes, indeed. What are the chances? 37% go to both men. We have 14.8 for Prod in second, third Joker at 11.1. But how about that? A high-level tie, and how fitting as these two will be tied to each other. Very much so here in TSW. Not only in Season 2, but Season 3 and onward. Can't imagine it's the last we've seen of these two, as Finn is the only man to be undefeated against Yunk. How about that? How about that? So we got the big daddios, we got the cruiserweights. Now we dive into the tag team division, and this one's an interesting one too. A lot of teams kind of ran the gauntlet this year. A lot of kind of 3 or 4 teams took over the whole division. Founding Fathers Brotherhood, Dog Pound, who will come out on top here? We are about to find out, ladies and gentlemen. But once again, congratulations to Yunk and Finn for the tie. And how about that? We get Finn with a double header appearance as the Founding Fathers, 51.9% over half the field. Dog Pound 24.9%, followed by Brotherhood at 18.5%. Gotta think Brotherhood coming in a little spicy to the new season. Maybe a little lack of respect here placed on the name of the Brotherhood, but you can't disagree with the Founding Fathers. Truly the greatest tag team in TSW history. 6 months and I believe 2 days, 3 days, 1 day, one of the three with those tag titles. And how about how things shook out as we got down the end of the year? And speaking of how things shook out with them, we get to the WTF moment. And I mean, that's in the contention here. We're also talking about the Clap surprise. We're talking LBJ joining Wall Street. We're talking the streak is beaten. We're talking Raw Squash and many more. What will be the WTF moment of the year? And it is indeed going to be the streak is over, ladies and gentlemen. What a moment that was. Unforgettable, truly. 33.3%. Second place would be LBJ joins Wall Street Part, and Founding Fathers running each other would be number 3. And truly a what the fuck moment there, ladies and gentlemen. Finn intrinsically tied to many awards here tonight, as will Yunk. Of course, we still have both these men up for Wrestler of the Year later this evening as well. But truly many shocking moments this year. And we talked a little bit about, of course, the Founding Fathers Tag of the Year. They were up for grabs for the moment of the year, but we get on to Manager of the Year, and I mean, many up for grabs here. Opportunity arose for many, but we're kind of hitting there. You got Albrecht, you got Badger Trio, you got Super Kick Nick, but Blue, you're my boy Blue, is indeed your inaugural Manager of the Year, 63%, followed by Albrecht and Nick Mazesko in that very order. Real quick moving on, of course, congratulations, Blue. We've got the Mixed Tag Team of the Year. Guess you needed a picture of Miss Stoney as well, apologies. But this one to me is a bit of a surprise. Of course, the Stonies about a month as tag champions, but not much the rest of the year for either of them. Of course, we're looking at AJ Cara, dominant run, but this thing is a case where the people love the Stonies. They want to see more of the Stonies, and this is a situation. I'm a man of the people, listen to the people, which is why both Stonies will have opportunities for some contenderships in these upcoming weeks here in Season 3. We listen to the people, ladies and gentlemen. And we talk about the Mixed Tag Team, we talk about Mrs. Stoney, and we go into the Female Wrestler of the Year, and maybe also some controversy. I tell you what, much respect for the one and only legend that is Steph, but gotta be a little surprised here. By the way, Mixed Tag second place was AJ and Car, 25%, followed by Steph and Roldy. But Steph, 37%, second place, 29.6 for him. I think this is a case where people love Steph, and I do too, but I think in the squared circle, to me, not a very strong year, but this is a case where the people love Steph, and I tell you what, we can guarantee after a huge win at 603 Mania 2 over Emma, win over Emma here tonight, we'll probably beat Emma next time they match up, as Steph is on a hot streak, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about hot streak, we're talking most improved in TSW. And we're talking Casio. I think many people would have fit in this category. To be honest, I think Emma should have been on this category as well. But we're talking Casio, of course, a man who shocked the world with a roll-up, heard around the world against Vibe, and then shocked with the F10, aka the comms ban, heard around the world at Mania. But of course, Casio, 33.3%, going to beat out a two-way tie, 22.2 between Z-Rock and Vibe. Casio will have his rematch against Raw on the first episode of TSW. And of course, defended every episode of TSW. The title of the year, I'm gonna get right to it. I thought it was already up. I mistimed this. But it's straight up, ladies and gentlemen. Last year was a Tony title. Barely beat out this one last year at 40%, 40.7. This is your title of the year. Second place would be the heavyweight, followed by the BMI. But I tell you what, this is a division, a title that has captured the heart, the soul, the imagination of the TSW faithful. Always an exciting moment when this title is on the line, and happens every single night. Whether you're talking Young's incredible run, whether you're talking about the shocking upsets by Roldy, of course, Roy Bacon, and so many other great moments. The hardcore title will continue to be a staple, of course, kicking off the new episode of TSW. And we go to pay-per-view of the year, the greatest show. I think it's a big one. I think a lot of people were between night 1, night 2, Rumble, and here we go. It is going to be night 2 of 603 Mania, 44.4%, 22.2 for night 1, and the Rumble and Slamversity bringing up the rear there. But I tell you what, the 603 Mania, both nights, incredible in their own rights. They truly were. And 603 Mania, really, most, if not all these winners tonight played a major role in this pay-per-view, but none bigger than faction of the year, and every faction represented. But it is Wall Street. Wall Street on top, ladies and gentlemen. 51.9%, staggering numbers here. 18.5 for Dargantic's family, and an honorable mention for the write-in of Dargantic's family better winner. It's rigged, and Dargantic's family will sue. Well, I guess we got a lawsuit on the way, ladies and gentlemen, as Wall Street has the money to defend that in court. Yes, indeed, Wall Street, of course, incredible year. Whether we talk about the star-studded lineup they've amassed over the year, the shocking clap moment, of course, LBJ versus Vibe, LBJ's initial joining of this faction, the $1 Million Championship. This faction has dominated this year, but year 2 of this faction, season 3 of TSW is going to be a big question mark, as, of course, Big shakeup at the top there. How's that gonna go? Dargantics, Dog Pound in third, Dargantics second, third, and then of course Team America, Congregation in that order. Team Canada, no love here, but Team Canada will get some redemption maybe against Congregation, as Fend will take on Adam one-on-one on this debut episode. But ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Wrestler of the Year, the biggest category, and I hate to jump the shark, but we're doing it. It's Yunk. I didn't even have to do the jumping of the shark. Of course it's Yunk. Unbelievable run, nearly half the field's vote, 48.1%. Second place would go to LBJ, so much respect there. Followed by Animal and other with a tie, of course, different others of Tony. Joker throws himself in there saying, I'm a great heel, you know I gotta do it, baby. And I respect that, sir. And Dargan getting himself a vote as well. But ladies and gentlemen, Yunk, Wrestler of the Year, undefeated for seemingly a lifetime, the 52-1. But a main event awaits him as he will defend that heavyweight championship against Animal inside Hell in a Cell. To main event the first episode of TSW Thursday Throwdown, aka 603 Mania. Backlash. And a backlash. There's going to be some big moments, big memories to be made, but most of all, we start a new season here in TSW, an exciting time with more shows, more exciting moments and memories to be made, but also we must touch on, as aforementioned, the Hall of Fame, of course, JG contributor, winning in year one. In year two, still no in-ring additions. I think we got to let the in-ring marinate, 4 or 5, because we really have to build some resumes. But what we can do is bulk up the contributor category just a little bit. Of course, year one, we brought in JG603, owner and operator of TSW. In year two, we're bringing in someone who keeps the machine running. We're talking the one and only Boxy, of course. Of course it's going to be Boxy, the man behind the music, and had quite a run on tonight's categories. There's a chance he might be the most winningest Too Sweetie contestant ever, so to speak. Contestant's not the right word. This isn't The Price is Right, but what is right is everything Boxy's doing both behind the scenes and in front of the camera, whether it be incredible promo work, farther than just sitting on a camera, which is so tough to do. As many of you know, me included, it is so tough to cut promos, but the added layer of the digital aspect plus, how impressive are those songs? But what's that? It's year two. So we're gonna double down. And we will have a third inductee. And this might be what you thought the first one was gonna be. It's gonna be Dargantics. Yeah, talk about keeping this thing running between the graphics, the upkeep of this thing, and helping put together this fantastic ceremony. I think it is more than fair that Dargan is also in the TSW Hall of Fame. So there we have it. 3 contributors, truly a Mount Rushmore. Without these 3, I don't think this show would be running. But the big question is, what will season 3 hold for us? What will year 3 of the Hall of Fame? Will we have such a big year that we look at the first one and you know what? You're inducted now. That is an absolute possibility, but what is not a possibility, what is a definite fact, is TSW is back. If you're watching this video, chances are we are less than 24 hours away, or you already missed the first episode of TSW on WWE 2K26. So make sure you go over to YouTube, you go over to Twitch, you'll get locked in, you get loaded up, because we are gonna have a killer show for you. Double-digit matches, nearly every title on the line, some shocks, some surprise, some debuts, maybe, just maybe. You're gonna wanna be there or be square. Until then, y'all been the best, y'all been too sweet, and I'll see you next time. Appreciate you. TSW to the moon. Let's get it, baby. Bye.